Are you ignoring the red flags that your job is toxic? You may be working in a work environment and doing your best and doing all these things, going, because as Black women, we make things work. We make it happen. We make lemonade out of lemons all the time. But are you doing this and you're experiencing symptoms that you might be ignoring, the red flags? You're ignoring all these things that your job may indeed be toxic. So we're going to be talking about that so you can reflect on, am I in a toxic job? And to talk about what do you do once you realize that you are in a toxic job. So welcome to the conversation today. If you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist of over 20 years. I am also a toxic job survivor, but I love to say I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. And I also want to say to everybody, happy Black History Month. So I'm so excited that we have a guest who's going to be talking about how she really ignored the red flags. She didn't even recognize she was in a toxic job. And we were even talking off camera about she was having all these physical symptoms and did not recognize it. So can you talk about it? Well, first introduce yourself, and then we're going to talk about what was going on.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Kamani. I appreciate you having me on. I'm Dr. Davia Brown Franklyn, and I also have a YouTube channel entitled Not All the Things. And yeah, we have been having this conversation, and I've been realizing I did not know that I was really in a toxic space. And the more I reflect on it, and I have to say that's always the word, but the more I reflect, the more I realize that, yes, that environment was really toxic. And even though I was working hard in it,
Mhm.
I didn't realize, right? I was doing all the things that I needed to do to be successful.
Mhm.
So I'll give you a little bit of context. I was asked to co-direct a school, and it was a charter school,
Mhm.
but it wasn't a general charter school. It was founded by a principal from the community
Mhm.
and two faculty members from my graduate school. And
Mhm.
so it had roots that I was connected to in some way.
Mhm.
We were the third co-founders in 3 years. So the school was in struggle. It
Wow.
was in struggle. Every year, it was like turning over leaders every
Mm.
year. And
Mm.
so I was working on soft money at the time, which is grant funded money. And I
Okay.
had been at my job for about 14 years and
Mhm.
saw this as an opportunity. I had gotten my license, my principal's license, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to lead a school. And so this was an opportunity to go and kind of help in as many ways as I could, but also
Mhm.
bring my experience to it. And
Mhm.
so I was co leading it. I was director of teaching and learning,
Mhm.
and there was a principal, and
Mhm.
we were asked to co lead and really right the ship, really try and bring literacy scores up, try to create a community that's more valued, and to do things different than what the traditional schools in the area were doing.
Hmm.
And so we did that. We set out to do that. Year one, we had, it was a rough start. We had to hire new staff members,
Mhm.
but everyone who was there was like in for it. And part of my job was to be, I would say, the cheerleader, to be the rah rah. Let's go create the community, try and get people to want to be there, want to love being there, get
Mhm.
families to stay, just really be a part of a community, but really push for getting those scores up
Right.
and really push for a different experience for our kids.
Mhm.
Not a traditional sit down, have your hands folded, you don't get to talk. It was play based, it's hands on. It was
Mhm.
amazing. And
Right.
so year one, we were putting in new structures and
Mhm.
systems.
Mhm.
Year two, we were on our way. Scores were starting to move. And when we got to year three, it started to get tricky
Hmm.
because the state, which is a funny thing, they want you to move the scores, but
Mhm.
then when the scores start to move, they want to come and see, well, are y'all cheating? What y'all doing? How the scores moving?
Oh.
Oh yeah. They would come in and they would inspect us like every few months. Oh, we'd
Mm.
like to see the books. Oh, we'd like to see this. And we were like, well, why are we getting all this pressure from out? The whole point is to shift and to grow. And
Right. We're doing
so
what you wanted us to do.
we're doing what you want us to do. So we
Mhm.
were starting to feel this external pressure, which I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense, but we keep our heads down, we keep grinding. But then we started to get internal pressure. And that pressure was coming from the board members, not the teachers. Teachers were amazing. They worked their tails off. They
Okay.
would, whatever we tried to do and implement, they were down for it. But the board members, some of them came from the community. Some of them did not come from the community. They were political figures. Some of them came from nearby graduate schools or neighboring programs. And so they didn't want us to do things so different from the traditional school. Well, we were founded on something different.
Right.
But we would do progress. And we were making progress. So as that board started to shift, it started to be, they tried to micromanage us. That's the truth. And they also tried to pit the principal and myself against each other. Oh yeah. Oh, well, so-and-so said that you need to do this. First of all, you're not supposed to be in the day-to-day. That's not your job.
Right. You're an outsider coming in telling us how to run things, and you're not here every day.
And you're not here every day. But they started to be there every day. They started to ask questions. They started to want to know X, Y, and Z. And I was like, okay, this is not going to work.
Right.
This kind of like under the gun scrutiny is not going to work.
Right.
And I started to have literally stomach aches pretty much every day. I was like, oh man, my stomach is killing me. You know, I'd get up, I'd get to work, stomach hurting, having a headache. But you know, I'm like, oh, okay. Need to drink more water. That was always my first thought. Maybe I need to drink some more water. I'm serious. I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'm dehydrated. I don't know what's going on. Call a doctor. And I'm not a doctor person. I really would not go unless I had to. And he said, you know, something's going on with you. We need to, you know, check everything out.
So you were having headaches.
Having headaches. Having this, like, it's just stomach pains. I don't know how else it's almost like that non-nervousness, but you can't figure out what it is because you're like, oh gosh, what is that? You know, but still showing up, still doing what we have to do.
Did you have other symptoms like issues with sleeping? Or
oh yeah,
you said your hair was falling out too, right? That happened to me.
First of all, sleep is almost non-existent, but I didn't attribute the sleep as the issue because if anybody here who's an educator knows you're exhausted. If you are doing your job well and you care about what's happening in your school, what's happening with your teachers, your families, you're up early. Right? We used to get to school probably around 6:45, 7 a.m. And we were probably in school till about 4:30. Wow. But you have to be there until the last kid gets picked up.
Right.
If they don't get picked up at 3, you got to stay till 4. If they don't get picked up at 4, you got to stay till 5. And in our community, there were times when we would have to call for support because kids would be left, not picked up at all. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
Parents working multiple jobs, couldn't get there. You know, so having a long day and being tired, it was just a part. So having sleeping issues, it didn't feel like
I'm just doing a good job. That's why I was with it. What about the hair? When your hair started falling out, what do you think about that? How do you rationalize that?
You know what? Not taking care of it, or I was getting it twisted too tight because I had locks. I would go to a loctician and they would twist, and I'd keep it nice, how we do. We make sure, but it would thin and it would thin, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on, and really had no idea what's going on. You'd wake up, and that's scary as this sound. You wake up and there'd be a lock in the bed.
Literally falling out.
Literally falling out.
Oh, wow.
Literally falling out.
Wow. And can you tell the audience how bad it got with your hair?
Well, I would say at the beginning of the year, they were thin and I kept trimming and trimming, try to lighten it. And by probably March, I was bald. Fully bald. Wow. And I found out, I didn't know I had alopecia at that
Mhm.
time, but
Mhm.
alopecia can live inside of you, and stress can make you have a spot. You may have a thin spot and another thin spot. I have alopecia,
Mhm.
and it was rough. It was
Mhm.
rough.
Mhm.
And when people don't understand, and I also didn't understand what was happening,
Mhm.
but you know what? We do what Black women do: put a hat on it, you wrap it, you do what you have to do,
That's right.
because we have to keep pressing.
Yeah.
And I
And we
didn't
lose the
make
connection with our
connections.
work many times. We're like, I believe in this work. I'm there for the
Oh
kids,
yeah,
right?
oh
So it
yeah,
was that, and you were disconnected from, wait a minute, what is causing this really to happen to me?
absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
And you don't connect the dots. You
Right.
don't go from I'm not sleeping, I'm
Mhm.
having headaches, I'm
Mhm.
having stomach aches, my hair's thinning, my hair's falling out, to this is all connected to stress.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't you don't make those connections.
Yeah.
You
So
really don't.
how did the doctor make the connections? Tell us how did the doctor come to the realization?
Between the doctor and my husband saying that's enough,
Oh.
honestly, I think the doctor was like, I'm not sure if you're seeing what's going on here, but you're not well, and
Mhm.
this job is not good for you. Period. I also
Mhm.
had a Black doctor who was able to be really straight with me and say,
Yeah.
I don't know what you think you're doing, but you're gonna need to stop.
Oh, that's a good doctor. That's a good doctor. That sounds like my Black woman therapist who told me, "Girl, you better just take a leave. You gotta get out of this place. It's gonna take you out." So
You
having that
need to go.
honest conversation, and you need a good doctor to tell you that.
You do.
So
You
doctor was
do.
recognizing, like, wait a minute, you have all these symptoms. It's connected to stress. So when your doctor initially said that to you, what was your response?
You sure? Like you got a whole degree. I've been coming to you. I've been telling you. I was like, are you sure? No, I can't. It can't be that.
Why was it that doubt, that questioning of the doctor?
Partly because I felt like that was my job. That was my job to be there. And so, what was I going to be able to do or not do by not being there? How am I going to help the kids? How am I going to help these families? And
Okay.
so, it was my own pressure
Mhm.
of excellence
Mhm.
and concern about, well, if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it? Right?
Ah,
There's a way in which we tell ourselves that we are the saviors on
true,
some level,
true,
that we have to do it, that
true,
no one's going to take care of these babies like we're going to take care of
true,
them. No
true,
one's going to look after them the way we look after them.
true,
Right.
true.
And
And
so,
then we look past what we're
yeah.
experiencing
Oh,
because we see
yeah.
the bigger pictures that we're there for the kids.
Oh,
And it makes
yeah.
it harder to leave, especially when you work with kids.
It
Yeah,
makes it
same thing for
almost
yeah.
impossible. And
Mhm,
if you know, I was having these conversations with myself about, I've been cheerleading, I've been bringing folks on, I've been creating this culture, not
mhm,
alone, but as a community.
mhm.
And how am I going to be the one to walk away?
Oh,
How am I going to be the
you
one
had that
that says,
pressure.
and it's self, right?
Right.
There's external, there's this internal, and
Yeah.
then there's what you're doing to yourself, right?
Wow.
And it's easy to put all of that narrative in your head.
Right. You
And
come back.
I did not want to leave. I really didn't.
Wow. Okay. So
And
that
I
was the
just,
initial like questioning, right? Your husband already
yeah,
been telling you, girl, this is not good, whatever, right? So what
yeah.
eventually led to you leaving that job? Because you had the resistance initially, you wanted to stay, you were thinking, well, what else am I supposed to do? I'm the leader, people are following my lead. Like, how can I leave? So what was that process that you went to? Like, let's go through the mind trash, right?
Right.
So what did you
Oh,
have to go through in terms of the hurdles of leaving?
yeah.
Walk us through
Yeah.
that.
Um, a lot of it was prayer,
Mm,
self-talk,
mhm.
a lot of how am I going to be good for my own family?
Good point.
Thank goodness, right? You have to stop and say, how am I going to be good for myself? I
Yeah.
really was thinking about my own family. I wasn't putting me first. I still
Mm,
wasn't.
mm.
Um, and there's a lot of work through this thing, Davia. You can go every day. And I would have this almost like a game. Well, if today's better, maybe I can stay.
Oh,
Yeah. if today's a little bit better, maybe I could stay.
Oh,
And I did that
so
for a
you were playing
while.
yourself.
Oh, all the
Right,
time, all the time,
right. But you
all
really
the
want to
time.
convince yourself that if I can just make it, it's not as bad as it really, the doctor's saying
It's
that,
not
my
as
husband's
bad.
saying
It's not
that,
as bad.
but you know what? I can make it. I can make
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. And I was willing, but I started to like listen at those board meetings with the kind of questions and the kind of ways that they were coming at us. And I was like, I don't think there's anything we're going to do that's going to satisfy these people. Regardless of how we move these scores, they're
mm,
still going to be gunning for us for something, no
So it's a
matter
losing
what we
battle.
do. Oh, it was a battle. And I was
Yeah,
like, do I need to be fighting this hard when I'm helping? I
yeah,
was like, I don't understand.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And so,
Oh my God. Can I say something real quick? I resonate with you so much because I used to work with
mm,
kids, and I felt like at a certain point, it was like I was fighting to do my job.
yes.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
it was exhaustion. Like the job, doing the job was not exhausting, but
Right.
fighting people who are trying to undermine you and
Yes.
micromanage you and throw you under the bus, that was the exhausting part. And I was like, why am I fighting to do my job? You're stopping me
And
from doing my
that
job. Yes.
that
Yes.
is true. And I
Yes.
would say many people in education are constantly pushing against how the
Mm-hmm.
system has created an unfair system for kids and families.
Mm-hmm.
In many ways. Not
Yeah.
no way are they going to be able to really make it and thrive and do the things that we're hoping they're going to do. And so I think, you know, I made it till June. I was a little bit determined. Oh
Wow.
yeah, I didn't. I was like, oh, I'm not leaving.
Oh.
And I kept like, and then I was like, oh yes, I am. Like, like a part of me was like, I was back and forth. But
Mm-hmm.
they had, I would say maybe in May, they gave us our renewal letters for the following year.
Mm-hmm.
And I held that letter and held that letter. And they kept sending me a reminder, Davia, you didn't sign your letter. Davia, you didn't sign your letter. And when we dismissed and we had our end of year party, I said to my principal, I said, I'm not going to sign the letter. I
Ooh.
just want you to know I'm
Ooh.
not coming back. And
Ooh.
she was like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm not signing the letter.
Mm.
I think it was an accumulation of things. There was no one moment
Mm-hmm.
that was like, okay, that's it. I just
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, because I think for most of us, it's like you said, an accumulation of things, right? It's like a progression of events that
Mm-hmm.
happen. Most of us will just say, "Oh, I'm out of here. This job, whatever." Because usually we're so invested in the work, we believe in the
Yeah.
work, we believe what we can
Oh
do,
yeah.
and we stick it out, we stick it out, we stick it out. Then it gets to a point like, "What am I doing? What am I doing?" So,
Right.
so that's what
Right.
happened with you. And at that point, you said also they were trying to pit you and the principal against
Oh
each other.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Lots of little um you're going to have to initially my evaluation and review happened through the board. Her evaluation and review was going to happen was happens through the board. And they said, well, next year we're going to have her evaluate you. I
Hmm.
said, we came in as equals, as co's. How can
Hmm.
she evaluate me? Now,
Hmm.
I didn't think it would be a problem. I knew I
Hmm.
was going to get a great evaluation, but what are you saying all of
Flip
a
the
sudden?
script.
Right. What are you saying?
Right.
Well, we think it would be best if she evaluates you. Well, I work at the pleasure of the board. So if you are unhappy with me, you
Mhm.
evaluate me.
Right.
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 That's
Right.
but since
Did
we
the
want to play games,
Yeah. Was the principal aware of the dynamic that they were trying to pitch you to against each other?
I think after the fact,
Ooh.
she realized it.
Oh, but not during.
No, not during. Not
Oh,
during.
man. Okay.
Because she was also we were both running around like chickens without a head and
Mm,
managing and we were tight. Like tight.
mm.
We were like, okay, girl, what we gonna do? Okay, they said this, what we gonna do? We were like a united front.
Was she
So
another
they
black
would
woman?
no, she wasn't. She was Latina's sister. She was a
Oh, okay,
Latina
okay.
sister.
Okay, okay.
And very much a sister, very much like
Mhm,
we gonna do this thing together. We gonna move
mhm,
this school together.
mhm,
We gonna, but I think she was more familiar with a few of the folks on the board.
mm,
Um, she was of the community. I was
mm,
not of the community.
mm,
Um, and I think they used that or tried to use that. Well, girl, you from here. She's not really from here. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
oh,
Okay. She's not from here.
okay. Just
But it
plant those
doesn't matter.
seeds
We're
of division.
planting seeds of division.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah. Yeah. And
wow.
and what I loved is like she would say, "Did you hear what so and so said? Or did you hear what this board member said or that person said?" And a lot of times, you hear what you want to hear when you want to hear it,
Mhm, mhm.
right? I might hear it and
Yeah,
just put it in the back and be like, I don't worry about that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then there are times when you can't not worry about
Right,
what you're hearing, right?
right,
You heard it. You heard
right, right. So there was the accumulation of events happened. You said, "I'm not coming back."
it. I'm not
Did
coming
you have any fears about not coming back to that job?
back. It was the first time I walked away from a job not having a job in my hand.
Because
And
we
I
were all taught that. I mean, most Black women, you better have
don't
another job lined up before
a
you
job.
leave.
You don't walk unless you got something lined up.
Right.
My husband's like, listen, we gotta figure it out. It's not like you're not talented. It's not like you don't have multiple degrees. You just got your principal's license. You can go be a principal somewhere,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I'm lucky that I was being held down, and I
Yeah.
have a man and a family that was like, we got you.
Yeah.
But I really, for a moment, was like, I don't know what it's gonna be. I really don't know. But you know what? I don't care. I'm about to have
Happy
my
to hear.
summer.
Yeah.
I'm about
Okay.
to step
Okay.
back and regroup
Yeah.
and have my summer.
Okay. Okay. I'm wondering for you, because this happened to me, which was crazy, is that as I was getting closer to exiting out that job, even though I had an exit plan, I started replacing my income, I was still scared about how I was going to really make my money, right? How I was going to totally replace my
Yeah,
income, even though I
yeah,
had started doing it, right? Even though I was already licensed, I was already a clinical psychologist, all those things, but
right.
I still thought, am I going to be able to make money? And I think because the job had this way of making you feel like,
Oh,
oh, it's really hard out there. It's
oh
hard
yeah,
to get jobs. It's hard, so that fear got stoked within me because of the job and then people around me, all that kind of stuff. So for you, you were like, you know what? I'm going to pull back. I got support from my family. I'm just going to take this summer and I'm going to be okay. Now, we talked also about the guilt that you felt
yeah,
about leaving. Can you talk about the guilt and what that was about?
yeah. The guilt. There are times when I talk about this experience, I still have a tinge of guilt because there's a way that I really felt I was supposed to be there to do that work. God called me there to do that work,
Mhm.
and you see it out. And
Mm,
when you leave a people, it sits with you.
mm,
How are they gonna make it? How am I gonna make it? What am I gonna say? And so it was heavy. It was heavy. And I struggled. I struggled a lot with what is this going to mean for the relationships that I have with the people here? Right? Are
mm,
they going to think less of me for leaving?
mhm,
Right?
mhm,
Are they going to am I not good enough? And are they not good enough? Am I going to be giving them this like abandonment moment, right?
wow.
Because I know what that's like to feel abandoned.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. And I know a lot of those families and children were like, wait, Miss D's leaving? Why is
Mm,
Miss D leaving? She just got here. I mean, 3 years feels like
right.
yesterday for little people,
Yeah.
right? But it's not. And
Yeah.
so it was really hard.
Mm,
Um, and when I left, so
mhm.
many people reached out and so many people said, you know what, you had to do what you had to do. We
Oh,
love you.
okay.
A handful of people left also
Wow.
after me.
Wow.
That was also tough
Mhm.
because it made me think, well, was I the glue holding them together? And then
Mm.
it was like, well, how toxic was it? Was it just me feeling this, or were other people? Because we thought we were protecting the staff from a lot of things,
Okay.
but maybe they were feeling things, that
Mhm.
we didn't know, or
Right.
maybe there was some pressure, obviously, for them too.
Mhm. Mhm. So
So
instead of thinking like, "Oh, I abandoned them," maybe you helped them realize they were in a toxic environment too, and that they needed to leave for their health. So in a way, you opened the door for them, even though you felt like, oh my God, I'm leaving them. What's going to happen? And okay, so how did you work through the guilt that you had?
That's a good question. I think the majority of the work happened as I reflected, just in general.
Your light went out.
It sure did. It always goes out. Hold on a second.
Okay. Just like when we get to the good part, I was like,
I know.
what happened? I was like, wait a minute, no, the light went out. Oh, no.
This light. Okay, one more little check.
Okay, so while we're waiting, I just want to tell
Yes.
the audience an announcement that I'm going to have a free Afroflow yoga class tomorrow. So 1 hour class tomorrow is going to be virtual at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and 4 p.m. Pacific time. So that's going to go across the screen. Okay, so you can register. You're in. It's free. It's a webinar. Nobody can see you. Information is also going to be in the description section. Okay.
All right.
So
Let's
check
see.
it out. I'm in the process of becoming an Afroflow yoga teacher. So this is my final exam. So I'm going to be doing the Afroflow yoga with my friend Antoinette, and we're going to be sending a class to you guys. Okay, so it's an hour class. It's tomorrow. Sign up. Tell your
Always something.
and it's like African dance and yoga all together. Okay, so check it out again. Going across the screen. Okay, so tell us again how you work through the guilt.
How did I work through the guilt? I'm gonna be honest. I think a lot of it had to do with just stepping back and reflecting and giving myself some grace. Again, praying about it, and I got busy again, which is always not good. You need to have some time.
Okay.
But I reached out to my old job and I saw that they were looking for a coach. And I said, you know what? I can coach with my eyes closed.
Oh, so you went back to the old job, not the job.
The job that I had left for 14 years.
Okay.
I literally went back to the old job.
Wow.
I saw that they were looking for coaches that summer. And I said, well, maybe I could just do a little I don't have to have any responsibilities. I can just coach. I can just work with a few teachers and do my thing. That's it. August 1st, I was back at a job.
Wow. So you took June, July off.
I took June and July off.
Okay, good. So you had a bit of a rest.
Had a little break.
Back to a job, a different job. Everybody different job. Wasn't the same
a different level of work.
Okay.
In the same space. It was like going home. Let's put it that way. I went home, so to speak.
Okay. So from what I heard you say, you were working a job for 14 years. That was like home. You decided to say, you know what? I want to expand my professional horizon. I'm going to try this new opportunity. You did that. That didn't work out. And you're like, hey, wait a minute. Let me see if I can go back home. So that's a good understanding that sometimes you might leave a job, not that it's toxic,
right?
Maybe because we want to try something different, right? And if you leave on good terms, then there might be an opportunity for you to go back if that's something you might want to do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They were happy to have me back. I was happy to go back.
Okay.
And it was real easy. I was like, I'm just gonna do this. I'm not gonna be in charge of anything. You know, tell me what I need to do. I'm gonna coach these folks. And I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna do my coaching, and and it's been good. And it's been really good.
Good.
And I've been back there. I can't even begin to tell you how long. I've been back 9 years.
Wow.
And I've been back there as a coach, as an assistant director, as a director, and now the executive director.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It was an amazing journey back.
Yes, indeed. One time I was at a conference and I heard this Black woman talk about the work she's doing for students. I think it was Black students particularly, or maybe there were a few Black students at the school, I think. And she was talking about how toxic the work environment was. And she was getting really sick and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff. And she was going to fight them. She was going to fight the administration. She wasn't going to go because she had to be there for the kids. And she ended up going to the hospital. And I'm sitting there listening to her. And I felt so sad for her.
Yep.
You know, on the one hand, yes, I definitely appreciate her commitment to her
Yep.
work and to the students. And I was like, you're saying that she went to the hospital, you getting sick and all these other things. But she was like, you know what? But I got X amount of years to retire and I'll rest when I retire. I'm thinking, girl, oh my God. So what would you say to women Black women, who might have that similar, particularly in the field of education, might feel the same way? Like they got to stick it out. They got to, be there for the kids. Nobody else will be there for the kids.
Yeah.
What would you say to Black women who are in a similar situation like that?
Listen to your gut. When you are feeling the thing that you are feeling is true. It's not working.
Right.
And it's not healthy. And you know it's not healthy because you go into the hospital, you're sick.
Yeah.
Listen to that quiet voice. We know that quiet voice. We don't want to answer it, but listen and stop yourself and say, what good will I be to myself if I continue on this path? I can't help the kids. I can't help the families. I can't help the teachers. So at this moment, I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And if you can, use some sick time, go ahead and take some days off.
Yeah.
Like a lot of days off.
Yeah.
Right? Use your FMLA if you have it. Like take your time.
Yeah.
Take the 2 weeks, take a month. And see how you feel. Because and I will just say this, as soon as I left that job, I have no more headaches. Immediately gone. Immediately gone. Not a headache.
The source of the trauma was gone.
The source of the trauma was gone. Stomach ache, gone. Gone.
Wow.
Sleeping, not so good, but not nearly.
The doctor wasn't saying to you anymore, girl.
Yeah.
Something not right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And it did take me a good 3 years to get some hair. And it falls out and comes in because that's how alopecia is. It'll come, it'll go, it'll come, it'll go. But the awareness of how I was feeling was clear, and I listened to myself. Right? You have to stop yourself and say, no, what you're feeling is true.
Yeah.
And you got to stop.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen to your doctor's advice too. Right.
Listen to your doctor's advice.
Right. And you know what? I also at the same conference a woman was talking. There were other Black women in the audience. They were all in educational administration too.
Yeah.
And they were saying the same thing. Girl, me too. I was sick. And so it was like this trauma bonding going on.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. Like that's what I'm thinking to myself. Wait, this is not healthy. Like trauma bonding about how sick you are, the job is making you, but this place will fall apart without me, and I'm gonna, stay here and I'm gonna stick it out. And so what happens in a situation like that where Black women might be trauma bonding with one another about being a toxic job? And I don't know if they fully recognize the job as toxic. I'm not quite sure what's happening.
No, I don't think they recognize it, but they feel better. And this is gonna sound crazy. Oh my gosh. They feel better that other people are experiencing what they're experiencing.
Right.
So it's like, oh, that's happening to you. So I'm not crazy. It's a part of the job. It's a part of the profession to feel this way. It's not that it's not abnormal for me to feel this way because she's feeling like that. She's feeling like that.
So I might as well stick it out.
So I might as well stick it out because it is structurally a part of the work. It is what we should experience.
Right.
Because you haven't found a values aligned space. Right. You haven't found something different.
Yeah.
You haven't been in a place that makes you feel great about going.
Yeah.
You haven't been in a space that you definitely are happy to get up and go. And there's no drama. There might be some drama, but it's not an internal thing. There's drama, but it's not taking you down.
Yeah.
And so, I think a lot of people, and I hate to say in education, I think a lot of us trauma bond.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think we know. I don't think we know that we're in a toxic environment at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's true. And the other thing too is I think that sometimes some Black women have maybe been brought up in a way, or the message to us in society is that we're the fixers, we help everybody, we save everybody, but we
Oh,
don't save ourselves.
oh
So it
yeah.
becomes like this martyr kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah.
So
There's a definite superwoman
yeah.
syndrome that you have. Um, we can swoop in and we can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
We can turn it around. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter that no one else seems to care that, we're doing all this. We just,
Right. Or we're getting sick. They don't care.
no, nobody
Just
cares.
do the work.
You're going to be here tomorrow though, right?
Right.
Oh, you don't feel good? But are you going to be at work? I said, I
Right.
don't feel good. Okay,
Right. Or
but you're
can
going
I
to be at
call
work.
you? Can I email you with a few questions on? Can I pick your brain?
Right.
Right.
Just, can you look over these scores? Can you do one thing for me? I know you're going to be home, but could you open up the email and respond? Like, okay, really, you guys?
Right, right, right. And
Right.
so, what do we need to do as Black women when people treat us or put us in that position? Because I'll hear it like, "Oh, you're so strong," or "Oh, you're so this," or I'm like, "Oh, you trying to get me, trying to pump me up, gonna gas me up to try to get me to do something, right?" So, what can Black women do when they're in these environments where they are put in a position to be the strong Black woman or the superwoman and
Yeah.
come save the day? So what are some things that Black women can do in those situations in the workplace?
You know, the biggest thing is to learn how to put some barriers up,
Mm-hmm.
put some boundaries up.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, know yourself and who you are and your personality. I am a worker bee. I
Mm-hmm.
will work. My daughter said, "Oh my God, you're working all the time." It's a part of who I am, right? It is
Uh-huh.
just who I am. But I know that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to learn how to delegate.
Yeah,
You
that's
need to
true.
be able to have people you trust and
Mm-hmm.
stop thinking that you're the only person who can to do the work.
True.
Right? You must delegate. You must have some folks who are, your rides. Like
Mm-hmm.
we got this. Okay, I'm gonna give you this, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna take care of this, and then let them do it.
Right.
Because if you're gonna give them the work and then do the work, well, what good is that,
True.
right? And
True.
we do that all the time. We don't trust it's gonna get done
Mm-hmm.
to the way that we like it.
Mm-hmm.
So we wind up doing their work, our work,
Mm-hmm.
the work
Mm-hmm.
we delegated, and so we don't get a break, right?
Right.
So as much as we can, put some boundaries up,
Mm-hmm.
delegate, and then turn it off.
Yeah.
If 7 o'clock is your time to cut it, 7 o'clock is the time. That's kind of late. A
Yeah.
lot of people are like, damn, 7 o'clock. Some
Yeah.
people, they got to go to 7.
Yeah.
If your time is, 6, if you really can turn it off at 6, then
Mm-hmm.
turn it off at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Set some
Mm-hmm.
boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and keep that. I
Yeah.
try to give myself a cutoff time in which I'm now moving into the work that I want to do for myself. So not my
Mm-hmm.
job's work, but my personal work.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give myself, 7 is when I like to do my thing, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so that's it. I can't keep looking back at the email. I can't keep looking back at the text.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Nothing's gonna change
No,
from that
no,
time to the morning from
no,
the
nothing's
job.
gonna
Yeah.
change. Nothing's
Yeah.
gonna change.
Unless it's like a
A
major
real emergency.
right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. And I said comment in chat. This session really resonated with me. We have to reframe the narrative of Black female martyrs, and
Mm,
this trope has especially been normalized in education. Yes.
yes,
Agreed. Agreed.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think another thing that I observed, even though I'm not an educator, I did work
Mhm,
for the school system. And
mhm,
something that I observed often in the school system was um, because Black women were so dynamic at their jobs, and it was like the identity fusion, right?
yeah,
So their
yeah.
identity as the principal, their
Oh,
identity as
yeah.
assistant principal, and that became like who they were. And
Oh,
so they taking work home, they're doing
yeah.
work on the weekends, they doing all this other stuff. And so it was hard for them to separate who they were from their job.
Oh yeah.
And I started thinking like, wow, where's the work-life balance? Like it really wasn't any work-life balance. And even you talked about like doing your own things or things you're interested in,
Right.
they didn't really have time for that. And what I also saw was that a lot of Black women, I think a disproportionate amount, because there weren't that many Black people who worked at the job, a disproportionate number of Black women in upper management positions were getting really sick.
Oh yeah.
Cancer, heart attack,
Oh
strokes,
yeah.
some died. And so to me that was like a wake-up call. Like, wait a minute, what is going on here that is particularly Black women who are having these experiences? Can you talk about the fusion of identity that may happen for some Black women, particularly in the education field?
Oh, you just you just hit it so on the nail. You become the thing that you do, right?
Mhm.
You are Davia, the executive director. You're the executive director, Davia, right?
Who happens to be known as Davia.
Who happens to be known as
Right.
or somebody's mama or whatever.
Right.
But you are the job
Yeah.
before you are yourself. And
Mhm.
that is how people see you.
Yeah.
Right. And you live into that,
Yeah.
especially when you are at a higher level, right? You
Mhm.
have put it in the time. You have,
Mhm.
oh yeah, David can take care of that. Oh yeah, make sure she can take care of that. She'll send that home with her. See if she can look at
Mhm.
that later.
Mhm.
People text all the time, right? And so it becomes very gray for you when
Mhm.
you live into that, right?
Yeah.
You have to not normalize your work professional role and
Mhm.
who you are as a person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And you have to be able, and that's for everybody, no matter
Mhm.
what the job is, you have to be able to see your role separate
Mhm.
from who you are,
True.
right?
True.
When you don't do that, it gets really gray, it gets really dark,
Yeah.
and you start doing things that you overworking yourself,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and
Because
it's
you can't see yourself outside of
you
your job.
can't see yourself outside of anything.
Mhm.
Right. And
Mhm.
the more you do that, the harder it is to unravel yourself from that
Right.
identity. Right.
Right.
And the whole point is to be a whole person. Right. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
if we're living a good, healthy life, that
Mhm.
work-life balance is something that we have to strive for.
True.
And I have to say, the one reason I started my YouTube channel, aside
Mhm.
from wanting to eventually be an expat and get up out of here. uh, really get up out of
We'll
here.
talk about that too. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
The one reason I did is because of that that question. What is work-life balance? So
Mhm.
my YouTube channel is about work-life balance, wellness, and wine. And I think when everyone was like, "Oh, you're gonna start a YouTube channel? You're gonna talk about education," I was like, I don't. I know I'm a teacher at heart, but I don't live and breathe that. What
Right.
I'm realizing is what everybody around me, we're struggling with work-life balance. We're not
Mhm.
doing it well.
Right.
Not at all. I'm not doing it well.
Right.
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 And I know better. And I'm
Mhm.
still like, okay, not so much,
Mhm.
easy. So
Mhm.
it's work-life balance.
I think for many of us as Black women,
Yeah.
like, this sounds crazy, but it's true because I've heard it so many times. Sometimes I hear Black women when we say, that's not for us. You know what I'm saying? That must be that other
Right.
community. We
Right.
got bills to pay. We ain't got time to be thinking about that, right? And it's like a dismissal
Yeah.
that we deserve softness in our life, that we
Right.
deserve anything else except for just grinding and working and fighting and just like the heavy trauma stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Why should we have to grind it all out all
all
the
the
time?
time. Yes.
No. Why can't we sit back and go and I don't know, do an art class,
Take a
do a
nap.
painting class, take a
Rest in
nap.
resistance. Okay.
Listen, do our little Afro yoga class. How about that?
Okay.
How
Yes.
about we and it's okay and that we don't have to feel guilty because what happens is when we do those other things, well, I'm gonna have to stay up extra 2 hours now because I just did this thing for
Right.
myself.
Right.
Why can't I do that? So
Right.
yeah, why not do the things that make us feel whole?
Yeah.
right? Why not slow down? Why not balance? And I don't want to have work be more than the life part of it. I want to, I say all the time, I want to play hard. Actually, I want to play harder and then I'm going to work hard.
I
I
like
want to
that.
play harder, right? I don't want to be working hard and playing hard. I want to play harder and work hard.
I like that. I received that. You know what? I just thought about something as we were talking that I think for many of us as Black people, that I'm talking particularly in the United States, because
Yes.
we were, enslavement is our history,
Mhm.
that we were programmed to be workhorses,
Oh, yeah.
workers all the time. And so I think this is like maybe a residual of slavery in many ways.
Mm.
Dr. Joy
Wow.
DeGoy talked about post-traumatic
Hmm.
slave syndrome,
Hmm.
is that we define ourselves in terms of our labor. And
Yes.
so it's hard to distinguish that. And this is what's so, you talk about a mind F,
Yeah.
is that as Black people, we're often told we're lazy, that we don't have ambition, all these things.
Right.
Even though we create this country, even though
Right.
we've done up and above, right? We
Right.
excel, right? It's
Right.
Black women now, we're the most educated nation,
Oh, yeah.
all these things. But I think on some level that we're fighting against that stereotype because
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
want people to see us as lazy.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
overperform
Listen.
to our detriment.
Listen, when I was working on my dissertation, I interviewed 15 women of color superintendents.
Mm,
13 of them had doctorates. 13 women
wow.
had doctorates sitting
Wow.
in that superintendent seat.
Wow.
13. And the two who didn't had 2 masters. So damn near on your way.
Right.
They were so overqualified for
Right.
their work. And
Mhm.
they said they had to get a doctorate. I
Mhm.
said, but you don't need a doctorate to be the superintendent. They said, oh,
Mhm.
if you a woman of color, you better have a doctorate to
Wow.
get this superintendent seat. And what's so interesting is the research talks about when men, especially white men, go for that position,
Mhm.
they tend to leave from a high school um, gym athletic teacher to the seat.
What?
Their pathway can be totally to the seat. The
Wow.
majority of the men who take that seat do not have a doctorate and can
Wow.
go from a high school, which most women don't even teach high school. So that's a whole other story. And we
Uh-huh.
won't go there, but straight to that same seat. And yet we are getting full on second, third degrees to apply for the position. And still we don't even
Apply.
want to apply. We're
Right.
talking about applying. We're not
Wow.
talking getting the job. We're talking about applying for
Wow.
the job.
Oh my gosh.
So overworked, overqualified.
Yes. And it reminds me so much of what we're seeing even right now with these cabinet positions and this
Don't pull me
rhetoric
there.
and nonsense about DEI and whatever. But when you see those people who are replacing the previous people, you
Right.
look at their qualifications compared to other people, you're like,
Right.
wait a minute, what? Like,
Right.
how is that merit based?
Right. Right.
Right, the person who previously had a position up and above in terms of qualifications, the
Mhm.
person coming in, you're like, how you don't even meet the criteria, but you got confirmed. Like, what's
Right.
going on here? And so a lot of us have had this experience and we're seeing it happening in real time again. I must say a comment, no one wants to grind. It's a violent metaphor. Let's play
Yes.
hard and work light. Yeah, I like that.
I love that.
All men are not sitting around thinking about being overqualified for a job.
Oh my God,
That
no.
is so true. That
No,
is so
no,
true. That is
no.
so
I tell you, I'm gonna give you this. This is a little bit of a side. I had someone reach out to me, saw that we had a post online for a position, a male. He reached
true.
out. He said, "I just want to know. I don't have literally, I don't have 5 of the things in the JD, but do you think I should apply?" I said,
No.
"Do I think you should apply?" That's
Wow.
a no for me. I was like, "No."
But
I
the
don't.
audacity of even like,
Well, he
oh
knows me,
my
right? So he was like, well, since I know you, I need somebody who can do the job just
God,
because you know me. But as a male, white male, you going to reach out literally on LinkedIn. Oh, can I talk to you? I see that this JD is here. I don't have this, and this, but was wondering if you thought I should apply. I was like, you don't have what?
wow,
You don't
wow!
basically
Talk
don't
about
have.
entitlement. Oh my goodness!
I ain't gonna
Who
say nothing
would
else.
even think of doing something like that?
Let me tell you how we would never.
Never.
We are overqualified, got multiple degrees, and
Yes.
still are like, should I send in the application?
Right.
What?
Right. Can I send extra references? Like what
Yes.
else?
2 and 3 references, cover letter, somebody else hit the no,
Yeah.
listen.
That's just a reminder that some people are mediocre at best, and this current administration is reinforcing that. Absolutely. That's in the comment. Talk about what's going on in Washington and how this might affect us on the local level and education environment.
Ooh,
Okay, let's talk about that.
listen, Cynthia, we actually don't have another 50 minutes for what we're gonna have to talk about. But I will just say this. I'm in the Eastern region, I'm in the New York area, New York, New Jersey area. And we are feeling it. And what do I mean by that? Many of the after school programs are feeling the pressure. Many of the early day program where you can drop kids off early, the lunch programs are feeling impacted. You don't even realize when that USAID money goes, it doesn't just go for foreign aid. It can go for um, local food programs that go into schools. And some of these children, they eat all of their meals at school, most of their meals at school. So when that money gets cut, it impacts a whole household, right? Because there's not going to be any extra funding. And if they're not getting their 2 to 3, some of them have breakfast, they have lunch, and they have aftercare. And then aftercare, they get a snack, right? So we're talking a lot of pressure on a system and families. Oh, it's terrible. It's sad is beyond what's happening right now.
Yeah.
They have families so afraid to go out, grandparents who might be undocumented, but the kids are okay, but the grandparents won't leave to pick up the kids because they're scared. It is a shame.
Yeah.
And even kids, we haven't even gotten to ability in kids who have additional needs, IEPs and other needs in which they won't be met because we won't have the funding for those additional positions, right? So the workforce is being strained. Who wants to come into education? Who wants to do this? Who wants to deal with this mess?
Yeah.
Right? So it is every small change is having a much bigger impact, and we don't know it until it starts to happen, right? Until they start to make this executive order and then it trickles, right? Hold this money, freeze this money, oh, release this money. It's all, are people able to pay their vendors? They're purchasing resources and materials for schools, but can they pay the vendor?
Wow.
Right? It's heartbreaking.
It is.
And it's hitting our communities, and it's hitting rural communities too. It's not just hitting our communities, it's hitting some of those rural spaces. When you look at Head Start is in every state. Every state there's a Head Start program. So it's not just you hitting brown and black children, if that's what you think you do, when you're not only hitting us, right? And you can't have folks who have to work at these jobs have no place for their children to go because they can't come to the job. They can't have somebody that they trust taking care of these children. So they need to be thinking about how it's going to impact the general workers also, right? Because there's only a certain number of families who can even afford to use Head Start. You have to be under a particular federal income guide. So it's not like, it's impacting your regular everyday worker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't think about that. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that what's most important is that we stay informed about what is happening or what may happen,
Yep.
and we try to get prepared as much as possible. That's all we could do at this point, and
Yep.
really get out and vote,
On the
and
local level.
yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, Dr. Davy, before we wind down, can you share what does your life look like now? So you went back to your previous job, but you have a different position. What does your life look like now? And because you're playing more, right?
I am playing so much more.
Okay.
I am playing so much more. I would say I'm definitely in a thriving space.
Okay.
I um I am really working on me and accepting that as I age, I am aging with excellence and I am being as bold, um, which I'm not a bold person, I have to say. I may not present that way, but I am a very much, I like to have fun and I am doing that. I have an amazing team that I work with and I have helped to create a culture where we care about whole people and their furry friends. I have a whole bunch of folks that I work with who, they work hard
Uh-huh.
and um, they're allowed to be excellent professionals. I don't have to
Mhm.
come and double check them and triple check them.
Mhm. That's a
Um,
true leader right there. Yes.
and I'm in a place that the culture is healthy and it's
Mhm.
valued aligned, right? I feel like if we believe in equity, we say that, and that's what we
Yeah.
work towards, right?
Yeah.
If we believe in social emotional care and well being and health, we stand by that. If folks need
Mhm.
to take a day off, I'm not feeling it. I can't do it today. Okay, see you tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
it is wonderful to be in this space.
Mhm.
I definitely am closer to moving towards a space of retirement. I'd like to retire early. Um,
Okay.
2 to 3 years is all about all I want to give, maybe four.
Okay.
But I, but I'm creating this community online at
Mhm.
Not All the Things. I love that. I have women who show up weekly to talk about work-life balance and to talk about wellness. And my favorite, to talk about wine. I'm gonna show you my little wine.
Yes.
I'm an amateur winemaker. I've been making wine for the past 10 years. Um, and I have a group of sister friends that I make wine with, and we have a good time. I do a wind down Wednesdays once a month on my YouTube channel, and so yeah, it's a wonderful it's a wonderful space to be in.
Yeah.
Um, and you have to stop and look back and go. Sometimes you have to go through some mess to
Yes.
acknowledge that, oh, I got a testimony. I'm in a whole new space. And hopefully people don't have to wait so long to get in a new space. Right?
Yeah.
Hopefully they can slow down and look and say, I don't need that mess no more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes the challenging things have to happen and help you pivot to the
Yes.
direction that you need to go
Yes.
in.
Yes.
And I'm so glad you shared that because sometimes I'm going to say, well, all jobs are toxic. And I'm like, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
So you are a testament to that. Not
Yeah.
all
Oh
jobs
yeah.
are toxic.
No,
Yeah.
they're not. They don't have to be. And when you find that you're in one, and I really appreciate you, Dr. Kamani, when we had our conversation, you was like, as soon as you feel it, know that it's true. When they show
Yeah.
you once, don't wait.
Right. It's
Don't
going to
wait.
get worse.
Right. And
Trust.
so I had never thought about it that way,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm in a space that's healthy. We're thriving and we're working well. We're
Good.
doing good work for kids and families still,
Good.
differently, but still.
Good.
Yeah.
So, can you share with the audience, you know, this wonderful job, right?
Mhm.
The early retirement. Why do you want to retire early then?
Why not? Why not? Why work so hard for so long for other folks? Why not live?
I love
We
that.
work we work hard. And so
Yes,
why
we
not be
do.
done at, I'm picking a number, my number 60. Why not be
Okay.
done at 60? Why we gotta wait That little $5 they're gonna get us at 62 for what? If I could go at 58, I would go. I might be able to, but I don't know.
Okay.
So it really is about living the next, let's say you get 25 years from the 60. That's 85, right?
Uh-huh.
I want to live that. I want to
Yeah.
enjoy that. I want to be out in the
Live your life
world
on your terms.
on my terms. I want to travel. I want to have wine retreats. I want to
Ooh.
visit places. Why not? Why
Yes.
not? What are we waiting for? What are
Yes,
we
I
waiting
love
for?
that. Why not? So
Why not?
tell the audience a little bit more about the option or the consideration of moving abroad.
Yes. Well, shout out to all of the Exodus Summit folks and all of the Black Sick Global folks and all of the
Yeah.
Our Rich Journey folks and all of the Black Utopia folks. I think I had started maybe a few years ago, just being online, like everyone else,
Uh-huh.
and getting a sense of your money can stretch
Mm,
further if you are not here at these high costs of housing, if
mm,
you if this if you are not paying healthcare at God knows what, 5,000 a month, whatever people are paying, and that you could still live a good life
yeah.
outside of the US. I know that many of us are from the South, so many people go back to the South. Many of us are from the Caribbean, so you have a place to go back to. But
Mm,
there are many Black folks who ain't got no place, right?
right.
My family's from the South. My husband's from Barbados.
Mm.
So I'm planting seeds. Can we do 6 months in Barbados and 6 months in Portugal? Can we do that? Can we
Oh,
can we figure that out?
okay.
He's ready. He's starting to get ready. So the more I do my research, get my finances together, the more I think about how exciting it could be to take that next 20 plus years and do it on your terms, right? And
Mm,
nobody says you got to go forever. You can go for a few years and come on back if
yeah.
you want. You can go for,
Freedom.
you
Do
can
what
go
you
for
want to
whatever
do.
you
Yeah.
just want to do. That's the whole point. Get your funds together
Yes.
or even take a sabbatical. I see Dr. Crystal in here. She's working a little bit, playing a little bit, right? And
Okay.
so traveling around, why not? And
Yeah.
so I really think it's an opportunity for us to live a more fruitful
Yeah.
um, life and a
Yeah.
more abundant life where
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to feel the pressure of what's happening in this world right now. It's not okay. It's not running. I don't
Yeah.
think it's at all. Oh, you running from the city? No, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the rest I need and I'm gonna live. There are
Yeah.
many places we can go where folks who look like us are welcome to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're because green is green is green.
Yes, yes. And to also think that our health, our joy, like our rest, these are all forms of resistance because there's so
Yes.
much craziness going on around us and we can get swooped up in it. It's like a tornado. You can get swooped up
Oh,
in it. But you have to be
yeah.
mindful, like, whoa, like I'm gonna pull back a
Yep.
little bit. And what do I need to do to ground myself? It's so important. I love
Yes.
your attitude of why
Yeah.
not?
Why
Why
not?
not? This is the life that I want for myself. Why not? Why do I not? Why can't I
Yeah.
have these things? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, as we're almost again winding down, can you share with the audience more about your YouTube channel, your winemaking, and other offerings that you have, and what's the best way to contact you?
Oh my goodness, what's the best way? So, um, my YouTube channel is entitled Not All the Things. And I named it that because we Black folks are constantly doing all the things. And we need to stop doing that. So I was like, I'm going to call it Not All the
I
Things
like that.
because I don't want us to keep doing all the things. I want
That's
us
true.
to take a break, right? So it's Not All the Things. I usually go live on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If I'm not live, I upload a new video. I'm trying to be consistent. Um, I also have a website. I do some consulting work. It's mostly education consultant. I've also been doing some um, group coaching work, and most of that work is usually with education folks, but I have been doing some one-on-ones.
Mhm,
And my website, I'll give it to is
mhm.
www.drbrownfranklyn.net. So let me see if I can get it for
Dr.
you.
Brown Franklyn.
Franklyn.net. And my Franklyn is Franklyn.
Okay. Just make sure I got it right.
Yes.
I'll also put that in the description section, everybody, too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so come on over, meet me there. And if you have, you know of Black women who really struggle with that work-life balance, and if you are struggling with that work-life balance, come on over. We have some good conversations, have some great folks on. Dr. Kamani's been on. We've been talking about finances. We've been talking about aging with excellence. I just had Linda Hustler on last week. We've been having conversations around finding your creativity, just all kinds of wonderful, you're never too old to color, all kinds of good stuff.
Ooh. And
we do a monthly wine conversation. And I invite my fairies on. Our wine is called Stumbling Fairies.
Oh, okay.
And there are five sisters. Those are our feet. And so, we just have a good time, and we are trying to slow down a little bit and putting some balance in our life.
Yeah. Well, I love that you do, because I never met a Black woman winemaker. Like, I've heard of people but I'm like, I never met one. So when you talk, I was like, really? That's so intriguing. I love it. Yes. So I'm just going to read the chat, and then we're going to close down. Sunday greetings, sisters. Let's get ready for some learning and growth experiences. Yes, indeed. Hey, Marissa. Yay for Dr. Kamani, Dr. Vina collab. Yes, Dr. D in the house. Woo, woo. Good evening. Let's see, read that part. Let's see. Okay. I think we got everything. Oh, wait. It's so inspiring to hear Dr. Davis say that she's thriving now. It's possible for all of us. So true. Aging with excellence. Yes. Life is not a dress rehearsal. No, it is not. Working life is early retirement. So true. Yes. And love it. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So I want to again repeat to everybody that I'm having a free AfroFlow yoga class that I'm co-teaching tomorrow, 1 hour, free, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. The information is going across the screen. It's a webinar, so nobody will see you, so don't feel subconscious, but it's an opportunity to really get all this craziness going on around us, okay, and to ground ourselves in our greatness, move our body, and feel good, okay? So again, I'm co-teaching that tomorrow. Check it out. Dr. Davia, any last words you want to share with the audience?
You know what? When you are not feeling well, when you are really struggling to get up and to go to the job, and when you're at the job, you're still not feeling well, and when you leave the job, you're still not feeling well, you have to ask yourself, what is going on? This really could be an unhealthy environment for myself. And it really can be toxic. And you might not have used those words before, but you got to get out of there. You have to say, it's enough already. This is not going to, and it's not going to get better, because you tell yourself that story and it really is a lie that you're telling yourself. It's not going to get better. You're not going to be able to wait it out. So-and-so is not going to lighten up. This is not going to feel, it's not going to work.
Or wait for somebody to retire. No, another person's going to take their place. And the system is toxic. Yes.
The system is toxic, and you got to go, and you're not failing when you release yourself. It's okay. And I say that to myself. It's okay. It's okay if I had to leave. It's okay. Right. You have to release yourself, give yourself grace. We say that all the time, but we don't give ourselves grace. We give everyone else more grace than we give ourselves. And so we have to, we have to love on each other. And I love Cynthia from saying, life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the one life, the one body, the one mind, and the one spirit. So let's just live it.
So true. So beautifully stated. I completely agree with everything you said. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up so YouTube will suggest this video to other Black women, because so many of us have entered toxic jobs. Okay. So yes, we want YouTube to suggest this video to other Black women. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Turn the notification bell. Also subscribe to Dr. Davia's YouTube channel and check it out, and share this video, share widely, comment. Also, come to the AfroFlow yoga class tomorrow. Okay, everyone, I will see you. Hopefully, you'll see me tomorrow as I'm co-teaching, but I won't be able to see you. Okay, so everyone, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good night.